The following program is sponsored by Brotherhood Arms. It's not always about where the fish are biting or where the birds are flying. It's talk about how to go get them. On the water and in the air with your hosts Neil Jensen, Randy Egermeyer, and Lynn Jurens.
Wasn't that a fiasco that day the coffee was flying?
You want to talk about a fiasco?
What's that?
My
Hillary?
wife has been in Pierre since Tuesday.
Oh.
It's a complete disaster at my house. My son and I are left alone with no adult supervision. We haven't eaten very good. There was a day when she left, I would start running like a dog the second she left the driveway, and I'd party till she got home. Now I just go fishing and we don't clean.
And you don't clean the fish either.
Yeah, well, not the last two times.
Not the last 2 nights.
I told a friend of mine I was going to hit that lake again. I don't remember the last time I've been skunked twice in a row. I do now.
You know, this guy Weinstein's all over the news.
Yeah.
And, you know, they have this whole array of beautiful ladies on the screen that, you know, are accusing him of getting involved
Okay.
in their lives. And they didn't want it. All right? Mr. Weinstein's this famous movie producer in Hollywood.
Yep.
But he's also one of Hillary's biggest donors.
Really?
And the only picture they show of Hillary, she doesn't get included up on that with, you know, Joliet and all the beauties.
Mm-hmm.
No, they just have her putting her hand on her chest, asking for another donor. More money, more money. Oh, poor Hillary. She's going to give the money back, though, because she always gives money to charity. But there's no one to give it back to, she said this morning. Oh, fun.
Huh.
Oh, golly. Hey, Ponset, the rules. The
Rules meeting is next week or coming up, right?
No, it was last night, October 11th. Yes.
I thought it was next week. I don't even know.
I wondered how it went. So, you know
Brian
what
will be
I
on
thought?
to show us.
Brian will be on the show, and that way everyone can get involved on Facebook. We'll do something a little bit different. You can start this week, pros and cons to why you think we should have a liberalized limit or why we should not. How about that?
You know what?
We might as well get it fired up on Facebook. But you can't call in. We don't take calls.
And there's been a lot of people down fishing that. I haven't been one of them, but there's been a lot of people down there.
Yeah, I can't catch a keeper walleye.
No, I couldn't in a tournament either.
Interesting. And one quick reminder here before we go to our special guest this week.
That's right.
Get the dog exercised. Opening of pheasant season is just coming. What?
10 days.
10 days.
Yeah, and get your fat body out and exercise too.
Start running behind your dog, would you? Yeah, it's a lot of dog injuries this time of the year because some of us don't want to run with our dog, and we run them alongside the truck or we get them out. But start throwing the buoy, do some things that are safe for the dog because the last thing we would want this time of the year is to not have our doggie that we've been feeding all year long to go hunting with us.
And them pups are going to spend more time in the field because the birds aren't as plentiful.
They're going to get a workout this year.
Yeah, they are.
If you don't have a dog, you might not have much fun. All right.
Anyway,
go
we're
ahead,
talking
Neil.
about Ponset.
Yeah,
You know, Ponset's famous for the ice fishing.
sure.
Dave Gens was down and fished with Sauter here a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And we have a guy in the radio that knows Dave Gens very well.
Do we?
Yeah, from Clam Outdoors and Matt Johnson Outdoors.
We know Matt Johnson better than Dave Gens.
That's right. He's from Coon Rapids.
Coon Rapids.
Which is one of my favorite sounding towns in the world.
Minnesota?
Yes.
Yeah, Minnesota. Oh, good. Well, are you live with us, Matt Johnson?
I believe so. Can you hear me?
I gotcha.
We got you loud and clear, and we have a lot of people that have joined us today already on Facebook and on live radio in Watertown, South Dakota. Matt Johnson, tell us a little bit what's exciting your life right now.
Well, you know, right now, like you said, we are full steam ahead in ice fishing mode. You know, Clam Outdoors eats, sleeps, breathes ice fishing even when it's 90 and hot out. Hard to believe for some, but like you said, over here in Minnesota, that's kind of a way of life. It's a sport, really, in this state. So we are amping things up, getting excited for the upcoming season, getting the retailers stocked up. You're going to start seeing things flourishing on the shelves pretty quick, getting ready for some events right around the corner. And we're just getting ready for ice, looking at these 30-degree temps when we wake up some mornings, and I'll tell you what, it feels good.
So you're going to get excited about ice, even though some years it gets a little bit tough to get ice.
Don't say that.
No, don't say that,
Yeah.
Neil says.
I live for
Yeah,
ice
we're
fishing,
pretty
too.
optimistic. we're optimistic this year, and we're looking for a good ice season. We're definitely due for one, like you alluded to. We're ready for a good early ice and a long season. If that thing, the Farmer's Almanac, is borderline correct, they're saying below average temperatures. So we'll see what happens, and if that's the case, we'll be hitting the ground running, ready to go.
That'd be great. Last year, our ice season was about 45 days long.
That sure seems like it, that's for sure.
Well,
Sure is good for clearance sales.
That's about it. Matt, this year, what's Clam got coming out? It's the ice team's 20th anniversary. What do they got to celebrate that?
You bet. So, 20 years with Ice Team, and we've launched a new series of shelters, one-person and a two-person in the Dave Gentz Legacy Ice Team 20th Anniversary Edition. So you can get that famous, one-person shack, the Legend XL Thermal that we've known and loved, in custom colors, custom Ice Team 20th Anniversary patch, filled with all the bells and whistles. And you can also get that same color scheme in the Voyager Thermal X, so a larger two-person shack, full thermal, all the bells and whistles, light bar, you name it, in awesome gray, blue, and like a neon green pinstripe. It's pretty good-looking shack. We envision selling out of those, so if you do get a chance to pick one up, I absolutely would, because they're not going to last long. That's kind of a trend we're seeing already. So that's one big new item, but we got a slew of them. So you tell me how much you want me to talk about newness, and I can go off. So we're really excited for the upcoming season.
Well, I just showed a picture on Facebook Live, so my Norwegian friend and my mom's cousin from Northwest Iowa can even see it. And there is a bright green stripe.
I tell you what, I saw these in person. That green is nice, high vis. It's going to be a nice shack. I will be in one this year. They're beautiful.
So that's just like a flag going up on your tip up right there.
And it comes ready to fish.
We'll know where you're at, Neil.
Unpack it, start fishing.
The old Norwegian fish finders, my goggles are going to come out.
Yeah, sure. We'll find you at the corner there.
Oh, sorry, Matt. We interrupted you.
No problem.
What else?
I was just, what else? Yeah, a couple of other big pushes for this year is we have a brand new Float Assist suit called the Ascent suit. It's kind of one of the first of its kind in terms of giving you true mobility. So it's really catered to structuring around your body and how you move your arms, how you function. One of the issues with float suits for many years is how uncomfortable they are. Big, bulky, they keep you up out of the water. God forbid something bad happens. But we've designed a suit that allows you to be very mobile friendly. So you put this on and you're like, holy cow, I feel like I have a sweatshirt on. So we're really excited about that Ascent float suit, launching an entire series of line. We've come out with a true premium ice fishing line called Frost Ice Line, and that'll be available in monofilament, fluorocarbon, and braid, 2 colors in each model with a slew of sizes, everything from 1 pound test down up to your 8 pound test for larger game fish. So very excited about that. And then, of course, we're not letting the gas off on tackle. I could list tackle for the next half hour on what's new for this year, from spoons to panfish jigs in the tungsten realm to Mackie soft plastics, and of course a pile of new ice rods. That wind grip handle, it's a big hot item now in the ice fishing and open water market, using that wind grip, which is a rubberized texture, almost like a grip on your golf club. We came up with a new lineup called the Legacy Series with that wind grip, high-end carbon graphite rod blank, all the bells and whistles in the best sizes, models, and makes. So maybe a little overwhelming. So we are coming out with a pile of new items. I think you and your fans are going to absolutely love them. Pretty cool stuff.
So these guys that have these big handles on their putters, we could take those things off now, throw them on our ice fishing rod, and go for the winter.
Sky's the limit. Yeah, you're seeing just about everything popping up now, and it definitely adds a little bit of feel, a little bit of comfort, and actually doesn't freeze up as much as, let's say, a cork or some of the other composite type handles. This one will be a little more comfortable in the hand.
Good morning to Ryan Souter. He said, "Bring on the ice."
Amen, buddy. Amen.
Anyway, I see a few others are watching. Chris Granrud, good morning to you. Scott Munger. Thor Thonvold is on here from Watertown, South Dakota.
As I get older, my midsection gets a little bit wider and I can't bend over as far. I'm getting one of those long 40-inch poles this year so I can jig outside and walk around.
Well, and you know what? Those are kind of handy for those of us that fish out of our our truck doors.
I fish outside and walk a lot when I'm guiding, and it's a nice one to have just to jig a hole out and move. Not bend over.
Absolutely.
Still fit on the dash?
I don't know. I have
Because you
it
got to throw it on the dash to thaw them out, you know.
Call Sauter and ask him. I fish out of a four-wheeler.
Oh, good.
So, what else is going on with clam, Matt? What?
We got a pretty aggressive season again in front of us with shows and events. You know, I know you talked about the Dakota Angler event out there that way the second week in November.
Yep.
That's going to be a big one. I know Todd's moving to that arena. 3-day event. I know we're expecting big things, sending some pros out to help support Todd. You have a chance to win some cool items. Events really all across the Midwest, all across the ice belt, starting now. And then, of course, the big shows. We go to Blaine, we go to St. Paul, we go to Milwaukee. You're going to see something happening with clam almost every weekend. We got pros across 33 states in Canada representing the brand, representing the industry, being ambassadors for the sport, out there giving seminars, working with the kids. Big thing is just stay in tune with us. Like I know you guys are big on social media. You mentioned your Facebook page a handful of times. That's kind of like the quarterback to all of our information for clam. Check out the Clam Outdoors Facebook page for what's up and coming. And, we encourage you to get involved as much as you can. We're going to make a big push for kids this year. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag quite yet, but we're going to launch something pretty cool and unique to the industry to really drive those kids into being more involved. So we are looking forward to another Banner Ice year, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's
Hey,
cool.
this is really cool. Jeff Hauk is listening from Iraq this morning, and he said, I can't wait for some cooler weather. Ice will be nice. So good to hear from you, Jeff Hauk,
Hey,
out
Nate.
of Iraq this morning.
It's
Isn't that
Steve's
cool?
son. Steve Hauk's son.
Steve
Jeff.
Hauk's son. Good
Yep.
morning. Good morning to you, Jeff. Rise and shine, buddy.
Matt, are you guys? The ice team will be out in Mobridge too, won't they? At the ice tournament.
Oh yeah, you betcha. The famous or maybe infamous Dennis Kasubi. He's been part of Ice Team for a long time, probably since the infancy. He will be there. I'm sure he'll be speaking. He'll be helping out, and we'll have a handful of stuff. We support that event for many, many years. Jesse's an amazing person, the guy that helps organize that.
Yep.
You will see a bunch of clam products there that you can win. And yeah, we'll be there in full force trying to get the word out there and get people excited about the sport.
If Kasubi's done anything, he's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, he is definitely a legend in his own right in many ways.
He's a treat.
sport.
I'd like to see him and Dave Gens in the fish house for a couple hours, just to be a mouse in the corner and see what they talk about.
Well, I tell you, him.
Oh yeah, those guys have probably forgot more than we know. They are definitely been there and done that, and know a thing or two. I've learned something from both in every conversation we have, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
I love
so-
him and I do that ice fish fest down at Shields together every year, and it's 2 days of me just laughing and just enjoying that
Isn't
more
that
than you
good?
meant. It's cool. Yeah.
But the first event this year is that Dakota Angler event down in Sioux Falls, and did they move that to the arena, or do we need to? We may not know everything we're talking about.
It did move to
Yep,
the arena.
they
When
moved
is
it
that,
to the
Matt?
arena this year. They did. It's at the arena this year. Todd did it in the church for several years. Had a bang-up event, and this year he moved it to the arena. 3-day event. It's going to be a bigger, better in many ways. You're going to see more attendance from vendors, from supporting the industry, and he's got a really good lineup of pros coming from all over the place. Jason Durham, one of our big pros, known nationally as a writer and an educator, coming from Minnesota, head out that way, joining up with 10 or a dozen other clam pros to help make the day a great success. So Todd is working very hard to pull this one off and make it a big deal. And I can tell you what, knowing Todd, it's going to happen, no doubt about that.
That's November 10th to the 12th, correct?
Yep, that second full weekend second full weekend in November. You're correct.
Yeah, that's getting to be a big deal.
Well, he started that in that old little shop he had. Now
Yes.
he's got the arena. That's kicking off.
Yeah, that's growth.
Yeah.
Real growth.
That old shop, there was room for 3 people and a fishing rod in there.
Good morning, Charlene Jurens from Texas. Texas or Louisiana? I got to make sure about that. Good morning, Brian Bashore. All right, Mr. Johnson, we couldn't figure out if you were Howard's son or Jalmer Johnson's son.
Yeah, probably neither. They sound like pretty cool people, but my dad has a pretty standard name like Tom. So
Good.
Probably not as interesting as
Good.
those
So
guys.
you guys didn't grow up over by Fish Lake on the Minnesota-South Dakota border, over where I came
I did
from.
not.
No. Okay.
No. You're probably one of the other few Johnsons that we know of. So, it's, but yeah, it's.
Well, you got Elmer. You got Elmer. He was a good friend of my grandpa's. I mean, you got
the Johnsons and the Jensens. You get over to Minnesota, you could get a whole hockey team.
Yeah. Cities are run by Johnson, so yeah. It's a pretty last name.
Matt, when you're not in Clam, I was checking out your Facebook page and your website. You do a little fish guiding on the side, or maybe.
Yep, I've been a guide since 2001, and I guide everything year round: open water ice fishing, some exotic winter species like catfish through the ice is one of the things I guide for quite a bit. So yeah, I'm out quite a bit. I think I logged about 80 days on the water this summer guiding. My winter season is more dedicated towards clam and ice team projects, but I still get out and guide, 15, 20 times in the winter. So I stay involved. I love to fish, love to teach. That's one of my biggest pushes for being so involved with ice team is the education side. Getting people on the ice, not only showing them how to catch fish, but if I take comfort knowing when we're done, they can go and do what we just did. That's huge for me. So I want my friends and clients to call me in a week and go, hey, that thing you showed me with the plastic and the lure or whatever we end up doing, they can do it on their own. That's very important. So yeah, it's no sleep for the wicked. If you ask my wife, fishing consumes our household, and all four of my kids are starting to follow suit. So it's been a blast. Very, very, very privileged to be where I am.
I would caution you, Matt, when they get older, that's going to cost you dearly.
I'm seeing that. I'm not selling as many items as I used to when the season's over, knowing that I need to start stockpiling my arsenal. So when my kids get older, they're not bugging me for my Vexil. I can go, hey, there's one on the shelf. Use that one. So I'm starting to try and figure out that learning curve a little faster.
I'm convinced my son can't tie a knot. He's casted off more plugs and mimic minnows this year than I thought was even possible.
Was that your son or Randy Angermeyer?
Well, Randy costed a lot of plugs too. He can't tie anything. But
he's our third partner. He's not here today, so we can get on him a little bit.
He casted 3 plugs off last week.
Oh, speaking of someone that we talked about earlier, Steve Ide is finally watching. He just woke up. When you're retired like that, you're Norwegian from Northwest Iowa, you don't have to do a whole lot, but get up by about 5 to 8. Good morning, Steve Ide. We talked about you Norwegians already. Oh, good.
Well, we're on the horn here with Matt Johnson from Clam Outdoors.
Yes, for those that are just tuning in, Matt Johnson, Clam Outdoors. Everyone, this will be replayed on KS93 on Saturday morning. And, of course, anytime you want to, you go to our Facebook page, or Neil has it.
Get it on iTunes and Google Play.
iTunes and Google Play. We've got a podcast, too. So, Matt Johnson, the last couple minutes here we have with you, some tips and tricks to surviving in the ice fishing world this next year.
You got it. Some of the quickest things that I try to always educate people on is comfort. We always look towards the latest and greatest rod, lure, reel, gadget. But if you're not comfortable on the ice, you're not going to have fun. So one big thing I always encourage is the layering system, meaning a good quality sock against your skin that wicks moisture, followed up by a wool sock, proper base layer, proper gloves, all the necessary things so that when you're out there, you're comfortable. When I guide, the number one complaint you get from ice anglers is, I was cold. So instead of nitpicking with the latest and greatest lure or jig or plastic, my big push is to educate people, at least initially, on take the time, invest in the good socks. Clam makes, Ice Armor makes a lineup of socks, a 2-part system in the Thermalite and the wool sock. Strong base layer, getting the proper gloves, not just a pair of choppers to go out there and fish with. Get a couple pairs of gloves, one to actually fish with to give you mobility, one to keep your hands warm. Pay attention to some of those simple things so when you're on the ice, you're comfortable. I promise you, if you're comfortable, warm, getting after it, then the fishing usually follows suit. I think a lot of ice anglers out there are smart enough, educated enough. We have the tips and tools at our fingertips with the social media and the internet to find ways to catch fish. Make sure you're comfortable while you do it so you're more efficient. That'd be my leading remark today for sure.
That's great advice.
Yeah, it
is. You
is.
Can't move around. You can't find fish.
Absolutely.
And while you were bringing this,
underplay that. So.
While you were bringing this up, Matt, I kind of thought also a lot of wives lose peace of mind when their husbands head out, or they head out. They won't go out because they're afraid of the ice.
Sure.
What are you seeing? Some anything new in the world of like a flotation
that ascent
safety?
suit. That ascent suit.
The Ascent suit that
Yeah.
he talked about earlier?
Yeah, I checked it out.
Our suit is a peace of mind, and we offer that not just for grown men, but for women, for kids. I mean, there's an option that we can get even young kids and 6, 7, 8-year-olds out in the flotation assist suit. You bet. That is a peace of mind. A lot of wives, a lot of husbands, a lot of aunts, uncles, grandparents. I always worry about that sort of stuff. If you take the precautions, ice is in many ways safe if you take the precautions. Media likes to blow it up. One guy falls through, walking through a creek, and next thing you know, they're talking about how unsafe ice is.
Yeah.
I think we know better as a culture, but again, take the precautions, be safe about it, especially as we start hitting early ice. Buddy system, don't risk it. If there's any risk in your mind, I encourage you to wait a little longer. No sense risking anything over a fish. If you want to risk something over a fish and it's that bad for you, I will buy you a fish sandwich from McDonald's if you're worried about that. So, just be careful. Safety always should be a priority, and just make sure we have fun in this ice fishing season.
Another pitch for McDonald's.
Another pitch for McDonald's. There
I
we go.
love it. We
I'm
love
not
McDonald's coffee.
encouraging bad eating habits, but hey,
Oh, yeah.
you gotta
No,
do-
that's-
Those Ascent suits you can move in those. I like them. They're going to be nice.
yeah, and it's a pretty cheap life insurance policy, so.
Absolutely.
You bet.
All
You
right,
bet.
Matt, we are completely out of time. We are running into the advertising time again, so we want to say thank you a ton. We enjoy talking ice, getting people excited about it, and we'd like to have you on again some other day.
I was excited in July.
Yeah.
Anytime, you let me know, guys.
All right,
Thanks,
take
Matt.
care. See you down the road.
You bet.
Well,
Thank
for
you.
another week of On the Water in the Air, it's time to send this baby over to Randy Grunt.
From small game rifles to big game. From paper punching and tin can plinking to personal protection. If it squeezes off a round, spins in a cylinder, we have the make and model that feels just right in your hands.
Brotherhood Arms in Watertown carries all the big names, including Winchester, Remington, Glock, Mossberg, Browning, Beretta, and many other foreign and domestic brands. Stop into Brotherhood Arms, North Highway 20 next to Doug's Anchor Marine, or online at brotherhoodarms.net.